Welcome to our webinar on ECHA's new public data availability system. My name is Anni Fast, and I work in the team dealing with dissemination and data availability here at the European Chemicals Agency. Today, me and my colleagues have the pleasure of giving you the first glimpse into the new data availability system we are building and which will gradually replace our current chemicals database. During this session, you will hear about our plans and learn about the first changes and timelines for the gradual implementation. This is the first webinar on this topic, and the meaning is to give you a general overview and a pre-notice before we apply any changes. We will have further, more detailed sessions during the year. During this event, you can ask questions at slido.com using the event code DAS2023 as visible on the screen. Slido will be open throughout the webinar until 12 o'clock Helsinki time. Our experts are online to answer your questions. Please ask questions only on the topic of the webinar. In case you have questions or issues with the current chemicals database, send those via our contact form, as we will not be able to cover them during this session. The event is recorded, and shortly after the event, we will share the material with you on the webinar page. The presentations are already available and the video recording as soon as the event ends. We will also compile a questions and answers document from the questions received through Slido. We will announce in our weekly newsletter when it is available. You can subscribe to the newsletter on our website. On the agenda today, we have first a short overview of our chemicals database and the plans for rebuilding it. I will explain our aims and the stepwise approach we are taking. After the overview, I will give the floor to my colleagues. Roberta will present the key features of the new data availability system, and Herson will explain the transition plan and what is to be expected still this year. Now, let's take a look at our chemicals database and the plans for rebuilding it. Our database is the biggest public database on chemicals in Europe. It brings together data from industry submissions and 56 pieces of legislation. It contains information for over 20,000 registered substances and over 200,000 substances notified to the classification and labeling inventory. You can access the database through the substance search, which you can find on our homepage and also on the Information on Chemicals page. On the Information on Chemicals page, in addition to the search, you can directly access the regulatory content by topic as seen in the bottom part of this screen. The database was first built to publish data from the REACH registration dossiers. Over the years, it has expanded to cover other regulations and tasks in ECHA's remit, such as classification, labeling and packaging, biocidal product regulation, persistent organic pollutants, prior informed consent, the SCIP database, and more. We also host the UCLEF tool, the EU Chemical Legislation Finder, to help you find obligations under other EU legislation. In the coming years, we foresee that the amount and variety of data to be made publicly available will keep increasing. To be prepared for this, we want to build a system that is modular, expandable, and scalable in order to easily integrate new data. At the same time, we shift to robust modern technology to provide improved performance. And while we are at it, we also wanted to take the opportunity to focus on enhanced user experience, which means access methods and formats that facilitate the use and improve the clarity of the information that we present. To conclude my part of the presentation, let's have a look at the overall plan and timeline for the new system. We are developing the system with an agile approach. This means that we will develop and transfer the data into the new system step by step. We have started last year with a preparatory phase that, among other things, included stakeholder interactions to gather the needs and to collect feedback on what is working well and what not so well. We have decided to first work with the hazard and use data in Euclid format. Therefore, the first set of information that will be moved to the new system is the REACH registrations data. This will happen at the end of this year. The second part that will follow is the CNL inventory around mid-2024. These first releases will contain essential basic features. As indicated by the open dashed timeline, the development will then continue and more advanced features will be added in subsequent releases, and we will also have readiness to include other data in Euclid format. In parallel to the Euclid data stream, we are also working on the information on legal obligations and regulatory activities ECHA and the authorities are carrying out. In the end of 2024, we will have the first set of regulatory lists in the new system. This will include, for example, the substances of very high concern, authorization and restriction lists, and processes, as well as a variety of other processes and legislative outcomes. The first set of regulatory lists will be followed by further additions and readiness to easily onboard new tasks, such as the Drinking Water Directive. This high-level plan concludes my part. My colleagues will continue with further details. Thank you for your attention. I will now give the floor to Roberta, and she will present the key features of the new data availability system.
Hello, and welcome to this webinar also on my behalf. My name is Roberta Iblasi, and together with Hani Eherson, I work in the team dealing with the dissemination and data availability. Today, I will be talking about the background and consideration we have taken when designing the new data availability system, as well as some of the main features. I will also give you a flavor of what the new system will look like via some visual examples from the prototype we are currently working on. The aim of the new data availability system is to provide the public with data. So naturally, we wanted to hear what you think about the current chemicals database and what you would like to see improved in the new system. In the past 12 months, we launched 2 surveys through ECHA website, inviting you to give feedback on the current system. We also organized follow-up interviews to collect additional feedback on your needs for achieving the purposes while accessing the ECHA chemicals database. In this journey, we have learned a lot about your needs, your challenges, but also what you like about our current database. We thank you very much for sharing your valuable feedback. Your feedback helped us identifying and prioritizing the area to improve. We heard your voice, and we want to do our best for providing an improved user experience. The 3 main areas we aim to improve through the new data availability systems are system stability, search for chemicals, and website navigation. System stability. As mentioned by my colleague Annie, ECHA hosts the largest chemical database in the European Union. Its quick and large expansion made it suffer from system instabilities. We will make sure that the new database will keep stability. Search for chemicals. Many of you experience challenges in finding the substance of interest. We will rethink and advance search criteria to facilitate your search. Improved navigation. We're aware that the navigation of our current chemicals database might be challenging sometimes due to the large amount of content available for each chemical substance. The new data availability system will be more intuitive and easy to navigate. As mentioned by my colleague Annie, we aim for a system developed with the latest technology, which will be agile, modular, and expandable. These 3 key characteristics will allow a faster incorporation of new legislation and data types. This leads also to a faster process publication and consequently a faster availability of public data. Another key factor is the seamless integration of all data. In a substance-centric solution, the user will have all data available for the substance of interest independently on the source. To achieve our goal, we will develop the new data availability system in its own website. The information on substances will be displayed via dashboards, which contain widgets. The information about the substance will be available with one glance, and the widget content will be dynamically updated. We aim to have an expandable system. For this purpose, we will publish raw data, increasing transparency, but we will also minimize data interpretation and aggregation. Finally, the concepts will be kept familiar, such the substance-based structure of data into a dashboard. In the next slides, I will guide you through a few examples of our data availability prototype. Substance search. The system will have a familiar substance search base. Initially, it will be substance search based only. However, the aim is to expand the search to products and articles. Substance dashboard. The Substance Info Card is a public summary of all information ECHA holds on chemicals. From here, you can follow links to all available information on the substance. Based on your feedback, we have decided to keep this concept but modernize it into a more user-friendly substance dashboard. In the dashboard, you can see all information available on the substance at one glance. It can be easily updated and expanded as soon as more data becomes available. Let's take a closer look at the substance dashboard. Everything about the substance will be at one glance in form of so-called widgets. The main widgets are Identity Widget, Industry Submission, Classification and Labeling, Regulatory Processes, and Regulatory Obligation. The system offers an easy navigation thanks to the left bar menu. The Identity widget will display the substance structure image and main substance identifiers. Through the link to the identity page, the user can find more information on identifiers. Industry submission. This widget gives an overview of dossier per legal context, for example, number of REACH registrations. From this widget, as well as from the dossier button on the left menu, you can access the list of dossiers and visualize them one by one. Classification and label inventory. The widget gives a quick overview of the most prominent classification. From here and left menu, you can access the full classification information available in the classification and labeling inventory. Regulatory processes. In this widget, will be indicating which processes is currently the substance and the latest status. Legislative obligation. Finally, this widget will give an overview of the current legal obligation for the substance. As we want to make the system available as soon as possible to you, we will be developing it following an incremental approach. What you can expect for the first version in 2023 is the identity widget and the industry submission widget with a rich regulation context. The other parts will be progressively added. A key component in ECHA's public chemicals database are the REACH registrations submitted to ECHA in Euclid format, or the REACH Registered Substance Fact Sheets, as they're called in the current system. As mentioned, this dataset will be in the scope of the first version of ECHA's new data availability system. To be more efficient in publishing the Euclid files, we will be switching to a new Euclid-based look and feel. In the future, the system will adapt real-time to Euclid format changes, which means less publication breaks. The same information will be published as before, but the new system will use the Euclid approach to visualize the data, which is familiar to all Euclid users. For example, the table of content on the left menu will follow the same structure and numbering of the Euclid dossier. As mentioned before, we want to design a more stable and expandable system. One key approach is simplification. As an example of this, we will no longer merge information coming from multiple dossiers into the same substance fact sheet. In the new solution, there will be as many dossiers available as many registrations for each substance. The example shows how today the information from many dossiers is merged into one, whereas in the future can be seen which information belongs together. To conclude, The new data availability system will bring some changes in look and feel, but also improvement in website navigation and stability. Nevertheless, the data will remain the same. What are the next steps? We will keep informing you on the changes in the upcoming months. We will also organize more interactive focus group sessions as we progress. Thank you for your attention.
Hi, my name is Gerson Martin from the European Chemical Agency, and together with Annie and Roberta, I work in the team that deals with data availability. I will be presenting the transition plan from our current chemicals database to the new data availability system and the conclusions of today's webinar. As already mentioned, we want to make the system available to you as soon as possible, and to achieve this, we are following an agile approach. Our first release will be at the end of 2023 with the REACH registration information, followed by the classification and labeling inventory, regulatory processes, and legal obligations. We will help you and guide you in this transition period. As of the end of this year, we will have two parallel systems. Due to the gradual transition and depending on your needs, you might need to check both websites, ECHA's website and the new data availability system. To facilitate your experience and access to data, we will provide redirection from current platform to the new system through links. This means that as of the end of this year, most recent REACH dossier information will be in the new system, but classification and labeling inventory and regulatory lists will remain in the old platform. After mid-2024, REACH dossiers and CLA information will be in the new system, but regulatory lists still in the old one. By regulatory lists, we mean candidate lists, CLH processes, POP, etc. We have designed it in a way that the new data availability system will contain all relevant information related to REACH registration, CLA inventory, regulatory processes, and legal obligations. We are working hard to prepare for the launch by the end of the year. In the current system, each time a Euclid format changes, we need to pause publication and adapt our system to the changes. With the new data availability system, this will no longer be needed. The system will adapt in real time. However, after May 2023, we will still have a last break in publication after the Euclid release, and we will resume publication of new dossiers in the new system. All registration dossiers submitted before the format change will be online in the current platform, and all other information will be available and up to date as well. I will present to you the key messages from today's webinar. The new data availability system will come live at the end of 2023. We are making the data more accessible to you. As mentioned by my colleagues before, we are following an incremental approach. We will start with the REACH registration information, followed by the classification and labeling inventory, regulatory processes, and legal obligations. We will support you in this transition period by putting this presentation, the recording, and a Q&A document on ECHA's website, providing redirection through links and information on the affected pages when changes are applied. A series of webinars will be organized. Stay tuned for more information. Contact us via our help desk for any questions that you might have. As mentioned by my colleague at the beginning of the webinar, please join our live Q&A if you have not done it before at slido.com. The event code is DAS2023. Webinar opens until 12 o'clock Helsinki time to answer questions. If your question is not answered by the end of the webinar, send it via our contact form, echa.europa.eu/contact. This event is recorded, and shortly after the event, we will share the material with you on the webinars page. This presentation is already there, so you can go directly and check it. We will also compile a Q&A document from the questions received through Slido and announce it in our weekly newsletter when available. You can subscribe to it at echa.europa.eu/newsletter. europa.eu/subscribe. Thank you very much for your attention.